Hey, so I just got off the phone with my dad and we had a discussion about the word like, or I say discussion. He told me that I say like entirely too much, and it's a very common way of speaking because he's that sort of man. But this got me thinking about this language and how it evolves and how it changes. Generally, like as a word is often mocked, where somebody will, oh, they were like blah blah blah, and they were like blah blah blah, and it's meant to be somebody who doesn't have a very wide vocabulary. Maybe they're aiming it at teenage girls, which is unfair. Basically about a bunch of stereotypes and rubbish stuff, but he said that it was very common and this was ridiculous. What interests me is that the way that the word like has generally evolved. So when you use the word like in a sentence, other than the obvious ways it's gonna, you know, they liked this as a thing, whatever. If you say something along the lines of so and so was all like, it means that you're explaining a scenario to somebody and you're basically giving the outlines of what happened, and the person knows from the use of the word like that you are describing like the gist of what basically happened, but not word for word. That's what it's used for. And similarly, I've noticed with me and with other people that when we use the word like like that, it's used as a thinking word basically. So instead of using or or whatever, it becomes a word that you're not even using consciously. It comes across because it's your brain filling the gap between the word before it and the next word, or you know, the connector between sentences or whatever. And everybody has their own thing as well, because if you watch Rooster Teeth and any video with Jeff in, he's a man who likes to swear, which is absolutely fine, but I've noticed by the way that he speaks, he might be like, well, you know, fucking da-da-da, and fucking is his thinking word, and that's fine. But it's just interesting because I disagreed with what he said, and I basically explained what I just explained. I said that's my thinking word, and he said that shouldn't be the case, that it sounds really common. I should be thinking everything through. Like I'm not thinking everything through anyway, but I just find it interesting because I am a person who probably articulates themselves better on paper, so I can have a hard time in conversations where they're moving very fast paced, and I might be able to come up with a good point, but before that happens the conversation has already moved on. Or I might really need to take a long pause to make sure that I fully explain myself. I really want to get my message across, and I can't just like fling all the words out there like he wants, you know? And just the whole idea of common words in general. I'm very, very against people who feel like they need to establish themselves above other people due to whatever perceived thing, whether they think they're smarter or whatever, or that it's somehow right to think that you're more than somebody because you're smarter than them. And I generally think that intellect is quite a subjective thing anyway, and I really do not like people who think that they are superior because they are smarter in whatever perceived way. Because I move in writing and book circles, I suppose, that you come across people who think that you should be able to quote Shakespeare like it's something magical and highbrow, when Shakespeare was about sex and dick jokes, you know? So, but I'd love to hear what you think on the word like and its usage, and generally about sort of thinking words and filler words, just anything about language and how it's changed and how it's changing. Like, I find that kind of stuff fascinating.